Hello, my name is Stephen Bowman and I am part of the baby boom generation. We have lived through civil rights, Reaganomics, and of course the internet, and I thought we were all done with our great social upheavals. But then we stumbled on our newest and most devastating challenge, the sudden onslaught of dementia and Alzheimer's in our parents. And although this epidemic is not discussed and our medical community has really no cures or answers, this is now a crisis for all our families. As a nation, we now spend more on dementia care than we do in cancer and heart disease. So today we sit in the dark. Not only is there no cure, but perhaps worse is that as a society we tend to treat our afflicted loved ones as mere children because we are lacking a model of care that offers dignity, compassion, and empathy. So the urgent challenge before us now is to determine how to care for our parents and ultimately how do we want to be cared for. But for me today, after 25 years in trial and error as a dementia care provider and many victories and setbacks, I want to present our evolving programmatic vision we call the Peregrine Way. With the Peregrine Way, we hope to dramatically change the way we currently care for those stricken and offer some healing for those families in the grip of this unexpected nightmare. So I want to talk about dementia care and our vision, but before I do, I want to ask one question. If we know with dementia, short-term memory is decimated and that death is imminent, what should be the purpose or goal of a successful dementia program be? What should we hope to achieve as a society in the way we care for those suffering from Alzheimer's? Well, I think up until now, there have been two basic responses to this question. First, keep our loved ones secure in an institutional, secure setting where they can be kept safe, clean, well-fed, period. Or secondly, embrace a more supposedly stimulating environment and the understandable hope of trying to hold on to our loved ones in the present and attempt to preserve that short-term memory through stimulating computer games like Luminosity, crossword puzzles, or even now special jellyfish supplements. But when I ask actual caregivers the purpose of a dementia care program, they almost always say, all over the country, is to gently stimulate and comfort. Stimulate and comfort. So we have to ask ourselves, what would meaningfully stimulate and comfort someone afflicted by short-term memory loss? Well, we think the answer is in their long-term memories, and that the point is fundamental to the Peregrine Way. Rather than resist the forgetfulness of our parents, we should accept that not only does their long-term memories dominate their lives, but that it is in those long-term memories that they live. And they should not be treated as wayward time travelers that can be simply yanked back into the present through the memory exercises. We think there should be a better way, which we call the Peregrine Way, and the Peregrine Way is based on three principles that we believe are self-evident. The first is the program for the residents, which is the acceptance of the potency of our residents' long-term memories. We are all, each and every one of us, are memories. And despite the best efforts, short-term memories have not been meaningfully improved by new diets, exercise programs, or quiz games. That is the disease. So in the Peregrine Way, we identify programs and activities that nurture the long-term memory on their own terms and try to stimulate our residents through their meaningful pasts. Perhaps religion is the most potent example of this dynamic. I am often struck by my residents who've never heard of Barack Obama that love saying the Rosary in Italian or the Haggadah in Yiddish. Regardless of our later opinions or indifference to traditional religions, it is often fundamental to who we were as children. It is usually offered comfort, structure, and reverence on the young mind. But my goal here is not to save souls, but to recognize an enduring and very powerful source of solace. And significantly for the dementia patient, religious memories are also profoundly connect ourselves to ourselves and the living child within us. And in doing so, we transform that individual, that apparently empty husk sitting alone, to a vivid individual with their own past. And this is why in every Peregrine home, we have a non-denominational chapel and a spiritual advisor and director. But recognizing the value of traditional religions is not the sole vehicle to trigger long-term memories. Classical music, familiar animals such as chickens and pigs, electric train sets, tracing genealogies can be very powerful ways of stimulating long-term memories. But in the end, whatever the activity selected, it should be always developed in such a way that it'll foster conversations that are both engaging and familiar in the long-term memories of our parents. The second element of the Peregrine Way is our family program. Right now, in the assisted living industry, dementia is largely treated as a personal tragedy, but not as a family crisis. To me, this is absurd. Of course, families as well as individuals are stricken by this disease, but that is not how we care for those individuals today. Right now, if a spouse is diagnosed with dementia, the healthy spouse would typically act as a primary caregiver, taking on the role of a personal care aide in the tasks of bathing, dressing, and toileting. Time passes. And finally, the healthy spouse becomes emotionally and physically broken, and it is decided that the afflicted spouse needs to be placed in a memory care home. The couple meet for lunch, sign papers, and the healthy spouse is told to leave and not come back for 30 days, 4 weeks, so there can be an adjustment. The healthy spouse does leave, gets in their car, and sits there with no place to go, stunned. Everything that person has been living for the past 60 years has just been left in a lockdown unit, and they are left on their own. And this emotional amputation takes place in America thousands of times every day. But no, that's not how we do it with the Peregrine Way. We believe that when a person is admitted to one of our homes, a family is embraced as well. When a new resident is admitted, we ask the spouse to fill out their own application and tell us what are their hopes. What are their needs? What are their fears of this disease? And we will follow up with monthly seminars to better inform our families about the trajectory of the disease, simulate the experience of the disease process through sensitivity training to increase empathy, and we'll give seminars on how to have a good visit, and support groups that will be established that will be on a monthly basis where families can share victories and defeats are discussed. Dementia is, of course, a family disease and must be treated that way. Now, the third element of the Peregrine Way is our training program for our staff, because what I said before is obviously true, that our loved ones are truly in the palms of their hands. What is often forgotten is that for many dementia residents whose spouses and friends have passed away, whose children have moved away, is that our staff often becomes the last primary relationships in their lives. And therefore, the staff must be continually invigorated and encouraged in their Herculean efforts. Our training program is unparalleled in the nation through our uniquely intensive weekly sessions where the staff is provided with encouragement and the handling of difficult residents and to build support for their common mission. But more importantly, what gives the staff the opportunity is to exchange creative ideas for improving care and sharing the insights into their favorite residents. We are empowering them. We believe that our staff's responsibilities far exceed their job descriptions when their positions evolve into vocations, which comes only when they realize that they are indeed the last final relationships in the lives of our residents and that they are in fact doing God's work here on earth. We understand this and remain deeply grateful. So in closing, I'd like to say that a dementia diagnosis does not necessarily mean a life of stultifying institutional care and a sense of helplessness for families. Remember, the word peregrine means pilgrim, and as Dante reminds us, we are all pilgrims. And the diagnosis of dementia does not mean the pilgrimage has ended, but that it may have turned and continues into the past, and these lives will be celebrated at Peregrine. Thank you. Thank you.